All right, let's get right into it. Most of us think we know how to negotiate, right? You try to be logical, you aim for yes, you split the difference. But what if the people who negotiate when lives are on the line? What if they told you that entire playbook is wrong? Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. We are unlocking the field-tested and frankly counterintuitive negotiation secrets of the FBI.
Just imagine for a second, that's the voice on the other end of the phone. The stakes literally could not be higher. Your heart is hammering against your ribs, your mind is just a blur of static. And rational thought? Yeah, that just left the building.
So what's your move? Seriously, what do you do? Do you try to reason with them? Do you plead? Try to find some kind of compromise? The hard truth is, in a moment this emotionally charged, all those traditional tactics, they're not just useless, they're actually dangerous.
Now you might be thinking, okay, this is pretty intense, but what does this have to do with my life? Well, here's the big secret. Almost every part of your life is a negotiation. Asking for a raise, buying a car, just trying to get your kids to eat their vegetables. It all comes from the exact same place. That simple, primal urge, I want. And the tools that can save a life in a hostage crisis, they can absolutely transform yours.
You know, for a long time, law enforcement only had one real tool, brute force. But after a string of absolute disasters, like the Attica prison riots and the Munich Olympics, it became painfully obvious that it just wasn't working. So the court stepped in and basically forced the FBI to learn how to negotiate. Their first stop? The academic world. You know, rational, logical models from places like Harvard. But agents in the field, they pretty quickly realized something huge was missing from that equation.
So what they built instead was a totally new paradigm, one that was born from real-world crises, where a mistake meant somebody died. And the whole thing is built on one incredibly powerful idea: tactical empathy.
And this chart right here, it shows you the fundamental split. The old academic way is all about logic, reason, trying to problem solve your way to a yes. But what the FBI learned in the trenches is that you have to start with the other person's emotions and their mindset. See, the goal isn't to get them to agree with you, it's to understand them. Success isn't about compromise, it's about making a connection.
So, tactical empathy, this is the secret weapon. But let's be really clear about what it is and what it isn't. It's not sympathy. It's not about agreeing with the other side or feeling sorry for them. It's about understanding their perspective so well that you can actually start to influence their decisions. You're listening for the emotions that are behind their words. It's emotional intelligence with a very strategic purpose.
And how do you do it? Well, the foundation of all of this is intense listening. Seriously, making someone feel genuinely heard and understood, that's a more powerful concession than giving away money or changing your terms. And you know what? It costs you absolutely nothing, but it can gain you everything. Okay, so that's the big idea. Now for the fun part. Let's open up the toolkit and look at the specific, actionable techniques you can start using, like today. First up, we have mirroring. And I know, it sounds almost too simple to actually work, but trust me, it's amazingly effective. All you do is repeat the last 1 to 3 keywords that they just said, but you say it with an upward questioning tone. It's this weird psychological trick that builds rapport and makes them feel listened to, and it encourages them to just keep talking and reveal more. And if you don't believe me, look at this. This is a real study. They found that when waiters just mirrored their customers' orders back to them, their tips were, on average, 70% higher than waiters who used positive praise, like, "Oh, great choice." 70%. That is the incredible power of just making someone feel heard. So how do you actually use this? Let's say your boss comes by your desk and drops some urgent, half-thought-out project on you. Instead of pushing back, first, you adopt a calm, downward-inflecting voice. Think late-night radio DJ. You start with, "I'm sorry," which signals respect. Then you mirror. If they say, "I need 2 copies of this for the client," you just repeat back, 2 copies for the client? And then, this is key, you stay silent for at least 4 seconds. That silence is golden. It makes them feel the need to elaborate. And a lot of the time, they'll end up solving the problem for you. Okay, tool number 2, labeling. This is where you actually call out the other person's emotion. You use phrases like, "It seems like you're concerned about," or "It sounds like you feel." Now, this is so powerful because of what it does to the brain. Studies show that when you label an emotion, you literally shift activity from the fear center, the amygdala, to the rational part of the brain. You are calming them down just by naming the feeling.
And a really advanced version of this is called an accusation audit. One negotiator actually used this exact phrase when he had to call a superior officer that he'd accidentally disrespected. By opening with a joke acknowledging his sin, he labeled the negative feeling in the room right away, and it completely disarmed the other guy's anger before it could even get started.
So you're mirroring, you're labeling, you're gathering all this information, but what's the end goal here? What's that magic moment you're trying to create? What does success actually sound like?
See, we're all taught that the goal is to get the other person to say yes. But yes can be totally meaningless. A lot of the time, it's just a counterfeit yes, something they say just to get you to go away.
So if it's not yes, then what is it? What are the two little words that signal a real, genuine breakthrough?
That's it. Those are the words. The two words you're working towards, listening for, are, that's right.
That's right is pure gold. It's a moment of epiphany for the other person. It means you have summarized their feelings, their situation, and their problems so perfectly that they have this profound sense of being understood. They're no longer defending their position. Instead, they're agreeing with your summary of it. And that, right there, is the moment the entire negotiation turns in your favor.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. What is the big central idea you should take away from all these high-stakes techniques? It's really about a total mindset shift, a new way of thinking about conflict itself. So here are your new rules of engagement. First, stop being afraid of the word no. It's not the end of the conversation, it's just the beginning. Second, stop splitting the difference. That just makes sure both sides are a little bit unhappy. Instead, listen like your life depends on it. Aim for that's right, not for yes. And look, these tools, they are going to feel a little awkward at first, but so does anything new. You just got to practice them. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about being manipulative or trying to beat your opponent. It's about changing conflict from a battle you have to win into a chance for collaboration. It's about figuring out what's really driving the other person so you can find a solution that's actually better for everyone and makes the relationship stronger. Because make no mistake, whether you're just buying a coffee or you're closing $1 million deal, your very next conversation is a negotiation. So the only question left is, now that you have these tools, how are you going to change it?